5 lights, and away we go. I think everybody got a decent start there.
That's an insane start from Koushik. Exactly what he would have wanted. RB Ferraro, he just sneak onto the inside and he has to P2.
Salvage some points all the way down.
Eccentric sending down the inside on Oxygen, and Oxygen is coming back alongside. Putting his wheels, and he's side by side going around the outside. And I think he's got the move done. Yes, he has got the move. Oh, still there side by side. But it's got the inside line.
All right then, a very good afternoon to all the viewers out there. I'm Moto and joined with me in the comm box today is Eitzel or Thermo, I don't know, maybe one of them. And today we head to USA for round 5 of the Tier-2 championship of season, IRC's 9th season of league racing. So, yeah, COTA, also we have Dan as a stream as well. So, yeah, Dan, if you want to just say hello to all the viewers out there.
Hey everybody, how's it going?
Yeah, that's a streamer right there, Dan. And yeah, we head to USA today. A very technical circuit, a lot of flowing corners, slow speed corners, medium speed corners, and yeah, setup is very important here. You really need to know that you need to nail the setup. Otherwise, you will just get a lot of tire wear, and yeah, it's a very technical, very hard circuit to tackle for sure. And I think we should head on to the Hotlap.
You meant the track video?
Yeah. Then heading on to the track video, we have COTA 5.5 km long, 20 corners, 2 DRS zones, and a very long back straight, which allows for a lot of overtakes. And yeah, that very technical section of turn 14, 15, and 16 as well. Everyone, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome on board a lap here in Austin, Texas, in the Circuit of the Americas. Now, on board with the Alpine of Blizzard King, you want to be on the right-hand side for turn 1. Uphill braking, so you can brake later than you think. Use the black box on the right for reference. Take a late apex here, balance the curve with throttle on the exit. Make sure you get a clean run onto this downhill section here. Turns 2, 3, 4, and 5, all very reminiscent of the Suzuka SS without the elevation change, of course. But you want to be balancing the curve with throttle, swinging from apex to apex, keeping the minimum speed high. For turns 6, 7, and 8, very technical. Take a late apex here. Get a slingshot exit into this downhill section, and make sure you keep it within the track limits. Very easy to go run wide there. For turn 11, you want to brake just at the 75-meter mark. Take a late apex again, and make sure you get a good exit again as you head onto this very, very long back straight here. Watch out for the DRS board on the right-hand side to activate it and get those few extra Ks you will need for overtaking here. Now, preparing for turn 12, avoiding the curb this year, as the ground effect will kick in, and well, you will bottom out there. Make sure you get a good exit here for turns 13, 14, 15. Very technical, very less braking involved. If you're just rotating the car with the brakes and steering as well, and make sure the balance of the car is not disrupted too much here, as you will lose a lot of time. With the triple apex right-hand corner, you want to be taking a tighter line here, minimizing the distance traveled to the next corner. For this corner here, swing it in. Make sure you compromise on your exit to carry more minimum speed. Same for the last corner, if the line is very close, carry more speed than you think. And get a good, decent exit as well, though, for if you're on a race run. And yeah, that's a lap of Austin, Texas. And yeah.
Welcome
All
back.
right, we're back. Yeah, go ahead.
Hello, my name is Eitzel. I was a little late, fashionably late as always. Hopefully all of you are getting settled in the chat as we head into another round of our F1 2022 league season. Exciting times ahead for F1 esports as crossplay is now officially live. Like it's gone out of beta testing, it's gone out of its testing period, and we've been testing a lot of crossplay lobbies in the background. So next season. So I'm guessing season 10, if I'm not wrong, is of IRC F1 is going to be an absolute banger because we're going to have, I'm going to assume at least 4 or 5 tiers with the number of people that are going to be involved. So, lots to look forward to. And we should be heading into the lobby soon. But I was not available for the last round, I don't think. So maybe let me have a quick rundown of the standings as they're currently stand in tier two. So if we go, all right. So the standings after the last round, round four, Shawshank and Stendi are tied on points at the top of the table, as the weather forecast was fully clear there, I believe, for this race, which is expected. We don't really have many wet races at the Circuit of the Americas, although the timing of day is interesting. I don't think this is the correct race time, but it's
Nah,
all
it's
right.
it's the actual realistic time.
Oh, is it okay? So
Yeah.
looks rather nice.
Yeah,
Um,
it's around what 4:30 in the afternoon. It's like I think even Japan has an afternoon qualifying session. Not sure. So yeah.
Regardless, getting back to the championship standings, we have Shawshank and Stendi tied on points in P1, and Face Crack, Ritesh, and Monk are less than 10 points behind. And in general, up until about P10 in the standings, they're only separated by about 20 points. So it's all to play for in Tier 2 this season, which is really nice to see. It seems that the grid is very nicely balanced. Um, and that means that we have an exciting season ahead because anyone can really win any race, just depends on how strong they are and what their race pace is like. And of course, with the many strategic anomalies that we do have with the safety cars and whatnot, then that can definitely throw a spanner into the mix as well. So it's definitely a nice level playing field. There is no requirement of a BOP or a balance of performance. Nobody needs to be nerfed here because it seems that everyone is fairly balanced on pace, as Aces Scoop is already retired from the session. It hasn't even been a few minutes yet. I don't
I
think he's
think
even
he's
set a
serving
car.
a qualifying ban, if I'm not wrong.
Oh
But
yes, you're right. You
yeah,
may be right on that. So
it's yeah. I mean, yeah, he's not had the best of the starts to the season. Bit of a downer, but for him. But yeah, heading on board this has to Sector 1. Very reminiscent of the Suzuka S's here, as you're just gliding from apex to apex, and yeah, taking a bit too many liberties on the track there, and he's gone off track and caught up in invalidation, which is not what you want on a banker, because your banker is quite important here, as the track does tend to ramp up quite a bit. So track evolution is king here, as it's very all technical and low speed as well. So yeah, Itzel, what do you think about the standings as of now? We have Shawshank and Strendy, two very top drivers, in probably in the class of their own, very akin to real life in Max and Charles. What do you think is going to be their approach for this one? Are they just going to duke it out again, or going to lay back and probably give the other drivers a chance?
yeah, it's funny you say they're akin to Max and Charles, unless Max is in a Williams this season. That's not really realistic. But yeah, I mean, the way the championship mentality goes for any championship driver is I will. It has you have to be relentless in your pursuit. You really do have to apply yourself every single race. You can't really afford to let yourself slip. I believe you had a few opportunities last season where you could have really run away with the championship, but unfortunately, due to circumstances out of your control, you weren't able to fully seize upon it, and ultimately it cost you the championship. So I believe you can even talk from experience here about seizing every
Yeah,
opportunity as it
I
comes to
prefer
you.
not to speak on that matter. Other, it's yeah. Heading on to the actual qualifying session as we just weigh away my skill issues there aside for a while. Heading on board this Ferrari of Shawshank is he's absolutely blinded by the sun there out of that corner. I think turn 11. Yeah, the sun just blazing, glaring into his eyes. I can't quite see the braking zone, but I'm pretty sure he's got the line to his assistance there, and he's braking at 75 meters with this one, taking as much curb as you can on the inside there, easy on the par, and he's gone purple in sector 2 through 14 and 15, very two technical corners. You want to be rotating the car with the brakes here and sort of gliding through, keeping as being as smooth on the steering as possible. Now heading into this triple apex right-hander, very similar to Turkey's triple apex left-hander, that is, where it's actually beneficial to take a tighter line as you're reducing the number of kilometers you're going to the next corner. The last one, just gliding through that apex, make sure you keep a high minimum speed, and he goes P1 with a 34.7. Pretty clean banker, but I'm pretty sure he's left a lot of time on the table there.
Absolutely. That final sector particularly looked very smooth there from Shawshank. It's all a balancing act really around Circuit of the Americas, apart from the middle sector where you have just a very long straight. Sector 1 and 3 is all about just balancing braking and throttle because they are highly technical sectors. And, from a setup perspective as well, you need to be able to balance both low downforce and high downforce or prioritize one over the other anyway. As we have Monk flying down the back straight, wow, that lighting really really would affect a driver because you really cannot see anything. Especially F122, you have some very weird lighting going down some of the straights. I think Baku in the evening as well is quite a sight. So
Yep.
it would make it a little bit more difficult for the drivers, but I'm assuming most of them will be running um, the racing line driving aid anyway, so it's not really too much of an issue. As the Monk rounds the long right-hander, triple apex right-hander, as Moto mentioned. This second to last corner can very, very easily catch out all the drivers. You can see most of them are taking it fairly conservatively to avoid that invalidation. Probably Monk, especially because he wants that banker lap on the board. And it's a McLaren 2 and 3 as Monk slots his McLaren onto the second row with a 135.6. Quite a bit off the pace of Shawshank, but he'll be happy with the position that he's in. But he'll definitely have to put in a faster lap if he wants to keep that position.
Yep. What's interesting about this circuit is actually that your tires are absolutely screeching by the end of when you're approaching the penultimate corner. So the last corner, and what you would think in theory would be like pretty straightforward, just brake and then just throttle out, is actually very slippery because your tires are just so dead by that point on your lap. So this circuit has a lot to offer, and that's just like one of the small in instances where the circuit can catch you out quite often. So yeah.
Yep, catching out really is the aim of the game here at Circuit of the Americas because there are quite a few parts of this circuit which can catch drivers out. I think the exit of this corner as well is particularly difficult, especially if you're not running traction control because it is cambered in a very interesting manner. You do have it so that you lose the car on throttle basically, so you really do have to be very ginger on the throttle and be very careful with how you put down the power. So yeah, lovely circuit. Unfortunately also a track limits nightmare because you do have to abuse the track limits a bit to extract the maximum amount of time, but also the track limits have been revised a bit here in the new game, so it's even more of a pain in the ass than in previous years.
Could we go on board? Yep, could we go on board the Williams as Strendy is winding up just to start his lap. He got a bit of a blockage there into turn 1. I think there's a wild Alpine just hovering near the apex. But yeah, as he's gliding through this S section again, just just gliding through all these corners. It seems to be the nature of the circuit. You just really just keep the momentum as high as you can because there's a lot of consecutive corners in the circuit, so it's important that you just get the right line for all these corners. As he's approaching turn 11, late braking into this one, miss the apex early on the par as you can because there's a long straight coming up. Watching out for the DRS boards. Could we have the telemetry on and just see how much these drivers are topping out at? 318, 319, getting a huge blockage there from at the Haas there of AJ, I'm guessing. I'm not quite sure who that is, but he's gone off track to avoid him and invalidated his lap as well. And not what he was looking for because he hasn't even set a banker yet. Yeah, not a good start for the Williams.
Unfortunate for Strendy as he's blocked there by AJ's teammate Pirate SG, who was on track warming up his tires on the racing line. Not ideal for Strendy, but he'll ramp up and go again. He'll probably save up some battery and send it on the next lap. As we have Heisenberg.
Oh, he's left the session.
Oh, that's not ideal. But he'll be back soon. Yeah. He has enough time to put in a lap. But an important thing to note is Heisenberg has made a big change recently. He's gone from the controller to the wheel. So I believe this is his first league race on the wheel, if I'm not entirely mistaken. So this will be an interesting race for him. He's gone from no assists on the controller to no assists on the wheel. So it's a big jump I can definitely testify to this because I still cannot run assists on this game, or still cannot run without assists. So it's a very difficult task. But he seems to be up to the task, and he seems to be up to the challenge. He's done quite well through Sector 1, up on his
Yeah.
personal time, but no purple sectors.
Oh, he's
And now,
invalidated.
oh,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
an interesting corner to invalidate at.
Not quite. You actually can gain quite a bit from cutting a bit there, and it's quite easy to run out wide because you're just not carrying the downforce to keep the car where you want it to be. So, yeah, not a very common error there from Heisenberg, but yeah, he has made that switch, and it's pretty impressive to say that he's already near about up to pace as well.
Yep, very impressive stuff there from last season's Constructors Championship in Tier 2 alongside his teammate Unleashed, who unfortunately is not in the season this time around. But we see Sager filtering his way through Sector 3, now coming through the difficult triple apex right-hander, now coming to the penultimate corner. Important to not invalidate here, and he's, wow, taking it very conservatively there to the point where I think this might be, yeah, that's what I thought. I think this is in lap. He did not go anywhere near the apex on the outside. So I kind of got the idea that he was backing off right there. Probably felt that
All
it
right,
was.
yeah, sorry for the interruption there. This is just in that there might be a lobby restart at the end of this qualifying session because the assist settings are wrong for the lobby. So, yeah,
Oh,
could explain the two retirements we've seen, maybe one retirement we've seen right now because Axis Group is serving the qualifying ban. But yeah, so a restart is pending, and yeah, we'll just finish this qualifying and head on to the race after a short while.
absolutely. So I believe um, there is some discrepancy with the pit assists. So people are diving into the pit lane in quality and getting sort of warnings and warnings and speeding warnings, etc. So yeah, that's a bit of an issue, but that will be sorted out soon. But um, Shawshank's still on pole. If it's worth anything, before the lobby is restarted, he's been there since his first banker lap, and he hasn't really improved since. But he'll have an opportunity now. I don't think this is
Oh,
his first
wow.
lap. Yep, he's
Yep,
gone a tenth up on his personal
two
time, and as
turns,
a
yeah.
result, on the purple sectors as well. As he comes down towards turn 10, getting all the right apexes, braking just at the 75-meter mark, turning the car in. Important not to run too wide. Oh, actually, they don't have the yellow track limit curbs on the outside there. I think
They
that.
don't, but there's actually some dust on that part of the AstroTurf, which does slow you down. So you can actually see
Ah,
it kick the cars kick it up if they're going through it, which is quite
well done,
interesting.
EA. No track limits curves, but we have some
But
dust.
yeah, just some dust in that specific corner. Like fuck that corner specifically.
Oh, that's an interesting
Okay, wow,
line.
what?
I mean, if he's gonna get a fastest lap with that, my word. But yeah, you
Yeah, an early apex in that corner is not something I'll ever see again.
tre- treated it like the triple apex right hander, just hug the inside line as much as possible.
Yeah.
He's purple in both sectors, though. Will he be purple in the final sector as well? I mean, it looks to be a barnstorming
Oh, he's
lap,
lost
and
out. Very obviously why he's lost out there, but he's lost out in quite a bit of time. He still improves by 5 tenths, I think. What
yep.
was it
Now
in
he goes.
0.7 before? I'm not sure.
It was point. He's improved by 5 tenths, but he's now put himself 7 tenths clear of the rest of the field.
Yeah, yeah. But what's scary is that he had a lot more time in that lap, especially after that line we saw he took into that corner. But now Abhi quite struggling quite a bit this season. He's 3 and a bit tenths down in the first sector alone. Not quite where he'd like to be in terms of raw qualifying pace. As he rounds this late apex corner, doesn't quite get the exit right. He's on the middle of the track on the exit there, not quite where you want to be. As the sun is just glaring into his eyes, and let's hope he doesn't miss the breaking point because it's going to ruin this lap even more.
So just a bit of an update. We will. It won't. The lobby restart won't affect quali. So the quali will finish, and the order that the quali finishes in will be the starting order for the race. Simple as that. So the lobby will be restarted in between quali and the race, and should get going after that. So
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I understand why they haven't decided to restart this as the rear end just getting out of shape there, and he's lost the car. that triple apex right-hander. I'm not surprised he's done that because you tend to run a very oversteery
Oh my god.
setup, evidently, as Shawshank, in pursuit of taking the right line, has just spun out on the exit. So, yeah, not quite the sacrifice he'd be willing to make there again.
Absolutely. On the last lap, he went very conservative on the line. This lap, he went very aggressive on the line, and both approaches are not not appreciated. As
Yep.
he still has another 2 and a bit tenths in this lap, I say even more probably, but he has easily another 2 tenths in this lap, so he can get a 33 maybe if he really pushes hard.
Yeah. It's interesting. Another thing about the circuit is a huge disparity, like between your trial time and qualifying, the race pace, qualifying pace as well, and like in a qualifying session, as in, because their tires just go berserk by the end of the third sector, so can't quite get them up to temperature for the first sector, and then you're struggling with the temperature in the last sector. Sort of interesting that way.
Another dark horse this season will to keep an eye on will be Anish Montero. He's not had the best start to the season, and he's been struggling a bit on this new game. But he will be looking to re-establish his dominance, the ones that he's had in previous seasons. He's a very strong Tier 2 championship contender. Just needs to find his feet a little bit, and I'm sure that he'll be able to deliver because as his teammate, I know that as a former teammate of his, I know that he definitely has the potential to be the Tier 2 champion. He's got the pace, he's got the racecraft, he's very accurate and consistent with his lines and his laps. He doesn't really make many mistakes. And he's just been a bit unlucky with his strategy earlier on in the season, but there'll definitely be an opportunity for him to recover, and maybe this race will be an opportunity for him.
It doesn't help the fact that he's getting shafted by the other drivers as well in the race because, yeah, not quite. In terms of like racecraft as well, he's been rather unlucky. But Red Bull there showing a purple sector on the track map, but our telemetry shows it's a green sector. So I'm pretty sure our telemetry is the one we need to follow because yeah, that didn't look like a purple sector to me. But gets a decent exit out of that corner there, activating DRS. He's already 50% down on ERS. This track is very ERS hungry because you're on full throttle for quite a lot of this lap, except for the third sector maybe. But yeah, that's just like 2 or 3 corners where you're just balancing the car with the throttle, which is the section he's going through right now. He's 2.5 tenths up now. I'm pretty sure that looked like a good sector 2 because it says to P1. Yeah, he's 2.5 tenths up. Rounding this triple apex right-hander, he's full throttle all the way. The car's obeying him very nicely there. Not a hint of oversteer, but goes very wide there and gets a wash of understeer. And again, he locks up into the last corner. I'm pretty sure that's just the tires crying for help as he's lost a lot of time there, Seja. But still only half a tenth down. And that's the last lap from him there. And okay, wow. So Shawshank is clutch pole for now. And he hasn't got a chance to improve his lap further. So a very good lap from Seja there. That he's only like 5 tenths back from Shawshank.
Absolutely, not much time left to go in quali. Then I think quali has finished actually. Never mind. Couple of drivers on their final, or lots of drivers on their final flying lap. So there will be a chance for Shawshank to be dethroned if someone puts in a fast enough time. Although Montero is currently nearly a second and a bit off the pace, so he'll need to find his time. AJ purple in sector 1, green in sector 2. Will he be able to do a purple?
Oh, goes wide.
3 hasn't
How is that not
invalidated
invalid?
He's
Wow.
managed to finesse the game, and the track limits is around the final corner, and he's put himself in
The
P3,
P3.
and he's split the 2 Red Bulls. So good lap there from AJ. Bit sus with the track limits there, but
Yeah.
we're not the one writing the rules. We don't really care. It was a good lap from him, and his teammate invalidates. So
I guess track limits not being too kind to his team in there, ironically.
Montero not improving on his personal best in sector 1, improving on his personal best in sector 2, and improving in sector 3, but not enough to get even onto the second row. He starts P5, and Ashray comes across line and puts himself in P2. Great lap there from Ashray, and
Yep.
he's only about 3 tenths off in the end, but I think Shawshank is going to keep hold of that provisional pole and have it converted to an actual pole position. as Jose has invalidated. I think that's the end of qualifying because everyone has completed their laps, and so has Jose. And Shawshank is your pole position holder at USA. A very, very good lap. I think it was a 134 in the end. And Moto, you could just run us down the order.
Yeah, very good lap there from Shawshank. P1 with a 34.2, 3 tenths clear of P2. Shane the Aston in P2 there. Ridgen making his debut with a good lap, puts himself in P3. AJ, Sager, Montero, Monk, Face Crack, Existence, and Ritesh round off the top 10 there. Out of the top 10 is Swagger, Pirate, Whatcat, Abhi, Heisenberg, BK, Jose Hero, and Mamka Agni. Axel Coop had a qualifying ban, and Strendy, the big story for today afternoon, has not been able to set a lap either. So a bit of an upset there for the championship contender, and yeah, he's not going to be very happy with what's going on there. With his probably some wheel issues from what I've heard, but yeah, not a good look for the Williams there. But Aitzil, I don't know, as we just wait for this lobby to be restarted after the assist restriction kerfuffle, I'm not sure, but I think the pack might have caught up to Shawshank's pace a bit because Shawshank has outqualified the grid by like over 7, 8 tenths in the last two races. So maybe Strendy was the exception, but now he's got some qualifying woes to contribute to his lack of setting a lap time. But what do you think? Has Shawshank just not been able to set a good lap, or has the pack actually caught up a bit?
I definitely feel like the pack has caught up the bit. I don't think we've seen a single qualifying session this season in Tier 2 where one driver has just been absolute like 1.5 seconds clear or something. We've always seen it's always been 2, 3 tenths, which is, it's just a case of who's willing to push more in those, in those in the sensitive parts of the track where you can easily invalidate your lap. Shawshank might have just been that little bit braver to be able to take on those track limits and say, yes, I can keep it within the lines, and that can win you tenths everywhere all over the track. And he's been a little bit more aggressive with his approach, and maybe the other drivers, the likes of Ashray, the likes of Ridgen, have not been too aggressive with the track limits, and they've managed to play it safe. So yeah, there's a lot of factors at play. There's also, that how he took that turn 13, 14, and 15 section. Obviously he did eventually
Yeah.
correct it, but it's things like that, that stack up, other corners where you can make little mistakes. And there are many sectors where other drivers will be faster. So it's not just a case of Shawshank having a scruffy lap. I think it's just a case of everyone has been fairly conservative on their fast laps. Obviously, take nothing away from the pole position, it was a magnificent lap, but I don't think it's a case of everyone else being a bit slower. I think it's just a case of Shawshank willing to take a few more risks on that fast lap. So yeah, I think the field
Yeah.
is definitely close.
I think now that we've had this little discussion, I think what's also interesting to note is that maybe Shawshank's has been pulling away in the races because I think what these drivers are tending to struggle with is race pace, maybe, where especially the Red Bulls. I think you did miss out last race, but it was me and half, I think, in Japan, where the Red Bulls qualified very high up, but they just sort of fell back in the race and had a lot of instances, a lot of incidents as well to contribute to their drop off as well. So I'm not sure. Maybe it's down to the race pace then, not just the single one lap raw pace which these drivers tend to have in this tier.
Yep, absolutely. So the race will will answer a few of our questions, if you will, if not pose us with more questions. And of course, there are definitely a few drivers to keep an eye on there. Obviously, Heisenberg and Montero, how they will fight through the pack. They've definitely got the race pace, they've got the consistency to do so, but it's just a case of how clean the racecraft will be and how quickly they manage to dispatch with the traffic. Um, of course, take nothing away from the drivers ahead of them. They are all very good in their own right, but these guys are veterans of the game, and they know how to play the mind games in the race. So they know how to plan out their strategy, and with their overtakes as well. They'll actually choose to play it entirely on race strategy. You might be able to give a little insight into the strategy here, Moto.
Yeah, the strategy. Well. I mean, this game has been pretty lenient. Maybe not lenient is the right word, but sort of monotonous with the strategy it offers because it's a simple one stop on most of the tracks. But USA could be an outlier because the tire wear is surprisingly quite high around the circuit. Mainly down to the nature of the circuit and how much you have to wrestle the car through some of the sections, especially. that triple apex right-hander where all 4 tires are just so loaded as you're carrying just so much speed to that corner. So yeah, maybe tire wear, the high tire wear could contribute to a two-stopper. Maybe there could be a safety car because this circuit is quite treacherous. Even though the walls aren't quite close, it's quite easy to lose the car. And when you do, it's the walls don't seem very far away because you just can't keep the car from spinning out and try to save it because yeah, it's just how the elevation changes also contribute to that. So. Maybe in terms of strategy, I don't know. It could come down to there being a safety car, there being some rain as well. Rain could ease the tire wear. So we're looking probably at a one stopper again. I'm not quite sure. Probably one stopper, yeah.
Well, Tier 2 has definitely thrown up some interesting strategic curveballs. We saw a few of them at Silverstone when some of the drivers decided to go for the soft tires at the race start and the soft tires again towards the end, and that didn't go very well for some of them. So I think strategy is definitely one of those differentiating factors here that might let some drivers benefit, even though they might not be the fastest on race pace. We've seen some question mark strategies in Tier 2 before. So yeah, not a lot to look forward to, I was going to say, but not a lot of variation in strategy is Moto's opinion, but I think we might see some interesting strategy calls today.
Yeah, indeed. Especially after, well, again, I don't think you were there for Japan, but one of the drivers did put on the inter tires in a dry race, so we could get instances of those again, maybe, but we could also see some uh, 3000 IQ calls being made where you get the undercut or the overcut, you make it work. So, yeah, another thing, tire times, struggling thing in this, a lot of thing a lot of drivers struggle with is what I want to say this race because you just have no tire times coming out of the pit lanes after you make a stop. But you do have the S section in this track to aid you with that because it just helps you carry way more speed and get way more temperature into the tires way quickly. So a bit of that going on as well in terms of strategy. Maybe the drivers are preferring the undercut due to the nature of that sector one. I'm not quite sure. So yeah, also the chance of rain is quite high as well. So we might be seeing some rain. Maybe if I don't know what the forecast was. Was there rain for the forecast? I'm not sure.
No, I don't think there was. It was a clear forecast, I
Is that
believe.
right? So maybe a dry race all around. But yeah, again, it could be an interesting one because what do you think about the overtaking nature of the circuit? Because you have a lot of straights, you have a lot of technical corners where you can just pick the right line and get a better exit, or just send it down one if you're brave enough. What do you think is the racing is going to be like?
Well, because I mean, Sector 1 doesn't really give many overtaking opportunities except turn 1, maybe. And if you make a mistake, maybe the other driver can capitalize on it. But Sectors 2 and 3 is where most of the action is going to be happening because through all those corners, especially through the likes of, between turns 11 and 15 and 16, maybe, there's so many lines that you can take, especially when you're side by side with another driver, that you can defend pretty much regardless of what line you have. Inside line turns into outside line, then instantly turns into the inside line again. It's very
Yep.
unpredictable, and you've got to be thinking 5 or 6 corners in advance when you're setting up an overtake. So yeah, racing's going to be interesting here. Overtaking wise, most of the drivers will be looking to make all their moves on those back straights heading into turn 11. That's going to be where we see a majority of overtakes, but you've got to keep in mind that there's going to be DRS trains forming after a few laps, so it's going to be difficult to overtake there, to the point where drivers will be looking to make overtakes in sort of uncommon areas, the likes of that, turns 15, for example, not exactly an overtaking opportunity, but you could make one if you're smart enough. So I think racing wise, not a lot is going to be happening. I think drivers are going to be fairly conservative, but I think we might see some desperate moves towards the end, as we always do, regardless of the nature of the circuit. I think you'll see drivers trying to just send it wherever there is an opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. Very interesting the circuit especially with the lines thing you mentioned where it turns to the inside and the outside for the next corner. Yeah, that always promotes for better racing, and we've seen some good racing in the past seasons, past iterations of IRC League racing around the circuit. Back to season 5, I think there was a great battle for the lead, and then also season 6 and 7 had some good battles here and there. So yeah, if I just think it's a case for history to repeat itself because USA is gonna give us a banger of a race, folks. And they're just heading for the lobby restart. Well, some plot lines. Let's uncover some plot lines forming. We got Strendy starting from the back of the grid as he faces some wheel issue woes. It'll be interesting to see if he sorts that out. Heisenberg, not quite the qualifying he expected, especially after making the input switch. And I did speak to him a few days before, and he did say that he was getting up to pace quite quickly. So yeah, it'll be nice to see him dodge the carnage and come out in terms of in positions. Maybe P5, P6 is what I'm expecting from the Ferrari driver. What else? What do you think the drivers are going to do on lap 1 to lap 20, whenever the first stint ends? How do you think the racing is going to go?
It's going to be very scrappy towards the end there, as they're all going to be on pretty much melted tires and all the wheel rim. They're going to be fighting even the likes of the guys who are running medium and full TC are going to be struggling with that oversteer. Maybe on corner exit, they're going to have a little bit of a loose back end, if you will. So, they're going to be wrestling with the car towards the end of that stint. It's not going to be fun, but they'll have to push through that wear, because that next stint, the stint after that on the fresh tires, it's going to be like literally going from a Formula 2 to a Formula 1 car. It's going to be huge amount of grip difference. They're going to have all this renewed confidence. So we'll see a lot of drivers picking up the pace once again. So I think most of our racing action is going to be towards that final part of the race. I think the initial part of the race is just going to be the drive. Well, if you're smart, it's going to be about taking care of those tires and making it far enough into the race where the strategy does come to your advantage. But an interesting thing that I pointed out in the chat as well. I think we can have a nice, fun drinking game. Of course, if you're over 21, you can have a drinking game. Every time me and Moto say triple apex right-hander, take a shot. Because we're going to be saying it a lot during the race.
Oh yeah, it rolls off the tongue nicely. I don't know.
I guess that's the only way we can describe it, because it's like 4 turns in one, technically speaking. We can't say turn 16, 17, 18. No, it's just triple apex right-hander. It's just more graceful.
Yes.
Do not worry, because the server is almost online. I believe they are sorting out the final few things, and they're going to be heading into the race soon. But in the meantime, I think we've talked enough about the race today. I think the only thing left is the race itself. But maybe we can talk a little bit about Monza in real life while we have the opportunity.
Oh yeah, that's I think we have a spicy race. Should I tell them to wait, by the way, not to start?
Yeah, it's up already.
No, the lobby. Have they started?
Yeah, the race is already up.
Yeah, bruh.
Now the stream is also up, by the way. I mean, we're live right now.
Okay, let me reload.
I mean, as in, we are live.
All right. Sorry for that short break there. I think the stream had some issues there. Yeah, we've sorted those out, and we should just be heading on to the lobby soon enough.
Yep, the lobby is up. So let me just quickly bring up the track map. And there we go. So Moto, are you there? Hello, Moto. I guess not.
Moto?
Yes, I'm here. Did you stop streaming?
Oh right, yes, I forgot. I have to do something really important, which is
Open OBS.
make sure you guys also are able to see the race.
Yes.
Just give me a second, a teensy weensy second. There we go.
I can hear us.
Yeah, we're back. Apologies for that. It's lap 3. Shawshank is in the lead, a slim lead. 3/10 is the gap, and yeah, most of the grid is on the medium tires, and not much has gone on. Could we go to the positions lost and gained and see what we've missed out on? BK getting a good start once again, 6 positions up. Strendy as well, 6 positions up. So I'm pretty sure it's safe to say that he's got his wheel issues out of the way, and he's back on pace again, as he's got the move down on Ass's group already as well. And yeah, some interesting positions gained and lost there.
Montero, a big loser from this opening part of the race. He started in P5, is down in P12. Or he started in P6 and he's down in P12. So not a good start for the McLaren driver. Both McLarens are actually down quite far in the grid. They both lost positions at the start. Not the ideal start to the race for them. So they'll be on the back foot right now and looking to recover. As we stay on board Monk, as he tries to get an interesting switchback done. He never really was side by side with Face Crack, but luckily the situation works out well for Face Crack as he stays ahead. As there is Ace Scoop going side by side with the Ferrari of Heisenberg through Sector 1. It's not going to end well, but luckily, I thought he backed off there, but it just seemed like Heisenberg just decided to cut the corner, take the track limit warning, and just survive through that entire ordeal. But yeah, not a great place to go side by side there for Heisenberg and Ace Scoop, but they just about managed to get through that unscathed.
Yep, and heading on to the top of the field, it's impressive that the Red Bull is still stuck with the DRS of Shawshank there. So the new debutant driver doing pretty well for himself in the races. The Alpha Swagger just almost gets sideswiped there on the straight. I don't know what all that was about, but yeah, he's kept the car in one piece there, luckily. So another move for AJ there as he's getting the lost positions, the positions he lost on lap 1 back slowly and surely.
I think Swagger expected AJ to cover off the inside and try to move to the outside, but then AJ just kind of stuck there, so he had to go on the curb on the outside to make space for himself. But yeah, good overtake there from AJ, and he's trying to recover the positions that he's lost at the beginning. But Ridgen doing well on his debut so far, keeping up with Shawshank, not letting him out of sight just yet.
It's a wider line, tries to get a switch back, can't quite do it so because it's a downhill corner, so you're never going to be able to go very early on the bar there. And yeah, he's following very closely through this S section where the dirty air is rampant, and the wash is not affecting him. He's closing up to the Ferrari in front of him quite rapidly there, as now through this uphill section where you just got to be getting a slingshot exit, manages to do that quite well enough. He's very close, I tell you what, and DRS is active. Maybe a move is on the cards over here, as it's akin to real life Ferrari versus Red Bull, Verstappen versus Leclerc here, and he's getting prepared to use the DRS and the ERS, the ultimate combo for the straight line speed. Is he going to get the move done? He's 3 and a bit tenths back, 2 and a bit tenths back, 1 and a bit tenths back, as he decides to brake early there, trying to go side by side. Is he going to get caught on the sausage curbing? Yeah, he does, and he's forced to back out there. Yeah, very interesting sequence of events as Upbeat 20 in the Merc, showing us the best representation of a Beyblade there, and quite having the best of his days.
Yeah, not ideal for him as Ace Scoop, while one Ferrari is fighting at the front of the field, another one is fighting in the mid-pack as Ace Scoop gets the move done on Heisenberg now to make that two Williams drivers who has passed Heisenberg now. Not ideal for the Ferrari driver. He drops a little further back in the grid, still getting to grips with the game on the wheel, but he'll be back soon enough. That is Jose losing the rear end, coming through the triple apex right-hander. There you go. And not just taking a bit too tight of a line. You can't, sometimes there's a level to which you can there's level to which you can tighten the corner. Not quite tight for Jose there as he lost the rear end.
Yeah, triple apex right hand corner being a bit too.
Ridgen is retired.
Ridgen is retired. Oh no, where is that? That's through the S's though, isn't it? That's
lost
an overtake under safety car. What the hell?
I think I'll have to recede that position, but
yeah, he's lost it into that uphill corner there. Very awkward place actually. I don't know how his cars ended up there, and that's it for the Red Bull driver who's faring ever so well until he wasn't done. Yeah.
There was a lot of support for Ridgen in the chat as well. A lot of people saying Ridgen OP, Ridgen doing very well, and then that happens. So that's on you.
That's not a commentator's curse, folks. That's on you. Yeah.
We were nowhere near him. That was all on you. But BK90 going very, very deep into the braking zone there. He's lucky there wasn't any other cars there. He just pile drive down onto the runoff.
He's trying to get his tires up to temperature in the most extreme way possible.
Yes, full Fernando Alonso driving style from
Oh wow, look at
2006.
that
Just
steering.
yeah, it's the ooh. The suspension is feeling that. But yeah, Ashray dives into the pits. Interesting to see what strategy is about to go on. I believe he's on the medium tires
Shawshank's
currently.
pit
Let's
as
see
well.
what tires.
Sage's chosen to stay out. Interesting there. Is that a Ferrari moment or is that a Red Bull moment from the Ferrari driver? I'm not quite sure. But we shall have a look as this race plays through. A bit too early for the hards, if I do say so myself. What are your thoughts on that? On that?
Well, as I mentioned earlier, Tier 2 does throw up some interesting strategical anomalies. So if maybe we see the hard tires go all the way until the end. Maybe we see Shawshank pit for the softs towards the end. I think he's also expecting another safety car to come out in this race. I think that's not an entirely bad thing to bet on. So if another safety car comes out, he can pit onto those soft tires, hopefully, or another set of mediums towards the end. He'll have to hope that the safety car doesn't come like 5 laps from now, in which case the strategy will go to the pot again. But yeah, interesting call there from the Ferrari driver. I think a lot of drivers have taken interesting calls. I think Shrey, Aces Scoop picks up a penalty under
Ay,
safety
ay,
car there,
ay.
but I believe Shrey also went for the hard tires. So net P1 and P2 both on the hard tires. So interesting
Yep.
calls here.
Yeah, absolutely. And what's interesting is that wait, has Shrey jumped him in the pits? Because
I did take notice of that because he was P3 before
yeah,
Richard
I'm
retired.
pretty
And then,
sure the Aston was never ahead of the Ferrari before the pit stops. So I'm not sure how that's happened because yeah, that's essentially a free position he's got under safety car, which is quite interesting there to say the least.
also, Dan, can we stay on board P1 so we get some nice juicy shots of that Aston Martin safety car? Oof, look at
Oh
that.
yeah.
Look at that beauty. Unfortunately, not quite as fast as the Mercedes safety car. That was a meme last year, but it doesn't really matter if as long as it looks quite cool, which it does. And there's a Red Bull in P1 complaining about it. Oh, how the coincidences play out, huh? But Sager in P1, who hasn't pitted, as you pointed out, neither has Existence, Ritesh, Monk, Face Crack. None of these drivers, or Montero for that fact, but Montero is on the hard tires. I believe I might be right in saying Montero's found himself into a good position by some coincidence.
Other drivers made a pit stop. It's SS Group who's pit the second lap of the safety car. Very puzzling decision, if I do say so myself, as to why he's done that in the second lap because now he's just going to drop way down the order, and
Although I
essentially,
think I
yeah.
think there might be some I think that might be done because he wants to extend the medium tires as long as possible, even though it might be under safety car. He'll want to take those mediums longer. I mean, everybody else has pitted to a hards, but they've pitted a lap earlier than him, so now he's got an extra lap of tire wear in there, and it might be helpful towards the end of the race. Might being the key word there. So interesting
Not
strategy.
quite sure though, because like a one lap under safety car speeds would be very minimal tire wear to your tires. Because
Mm.
yeah, I'm not quite sure if that's the right call, but we should just wait and watch how it plays out. Maybe he could be one of the lucky ones who does not get a puncture out of these hard drivers who are deciding to take these hard tires till the end. Maybe he could benefit from that call in the latter stages of the race. We don't know yet. Just have to have a look and see how things play out. But yeah, Sager in P1, finding himself up there. He's been quite decent actually in terms of race pace and qualifying pace, but just a bit maybe of a lapse of concentration, and he makes a very clinical mistake and drops way down the order. And yeah, it's just been that which has been hampering him this season. So we shall have a look and see how his safety car restart is going to play out, because that might show us if he's grown over the course of the season or not.
Let's just touch wood quickly, just to eliminate any possibility of a commentator's curse. We do not want to be taking responsibility for things like that. The race hasn't gone green yet. Do not pay any attention to the flags, even though they have disappeared. We are still under safety car conditions. Although that is a few cars getting very, very comfortable with each other. Has Sager gone already? No, he's still weaving. He's still warming up his tires. There is a certain point in the racetrack before which you cannot start anyway. I think that was the second safety car line right there that we passed.
Yep.
So Now, from any moment here on outwards, Sager can just point and squirt and he'll be away. And I think we've had some issues in F122 where drivers have had their throttles cut out just at the safety car restart, but he's not had a brilliant safety car restart. That Existence
He goes
prowling
defensive.
covers off the inside going into turn one and has kept Existence behind just long enough. But there haven't been many moves in the back as well. I believe that's a driver dropping back. That's Trendy, who's lost a position to Swagger Turbo. Him and SWATcat have been separated now, so a position lost there for the championship leader. He'll be looking to claw back some of those positions a little later on in this race as Swagger Turbo picks up a 3-second time penalty for track limits. Surprisingly, not many drivers have picked up track limits thus far, which is a good sign because everybody's keeping it nice and clean within the lines. Up ahead, Sager has now opened a gap on Existence, a second now between the two of them. Not many moves happening. That's Mamuk Admi making a move on Ace Scoop, although Ace Scoop has lost the car coming over the top of the hill just after the S's before turn 10, so that might be a reason why. So Ace Scoop now finds himself 12 seconds behind the rest of the pack.
Oh, it's another safety car.
Why?
I have no clue. I have
Ace
honestly
Scoop has
no
not.
clue.
Has Ace Scoop lost his wing? That could really be the only explanation.
Yeah, because
And
we haven't had a
even
retirement, right?
his wing is completely gone. Oh, I
Yeah.
think he's lost his wing on track somewhere, and as a result, the safety car has been called out. So
Which
another
is
safety
again
car
awkward
then.
because I mean I don't think you get damage for running over debris unless it's set to simulation, and we don't run that. So yeah, very odd call for the safety car there, but it just gives those hard runners a bit of a breathing room. But it's going to benefit the medium runners even more now, because maybe now is probably a better time to pit to the hard tires from the mediums and still make it till the end of the race with some tire to spare, because yeah, it should be favorable to this Red Bull of Sager there, but he's going to drop down the order so massively because the pack was already quite bunched up after the restart. And yeah, I'm not quite sure if that's actually benefited him or been detrimental to him. I'm not quite sure. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I don't think it's been beneficial to him either. I agree with you there. I think the timing of the second safety car hasn't really helped him out. He's retained the lead, but at what cost? He got a good getaway, or not a good getaway. He got a good getaway in after sector one. He pulled a second on Existence after that, but Existence and Ritesh and Face Crack and Montero with an interesting strategy call. They're still staying out. The top three on medium tires, Montero on hard tires. I think Montero might be in a really good position to capitalize from the strategy calls of drivers around him. I think he's not managed to put himself, or sorry, he's not prioritizing the lead or anything like that. He's just trying to play his race through, and wherever he ends up in the standings, that's where he ends up. And he's actually got himself into a solid position because assuming he can take the hard tires, those few extra laps, he's got 6 laps under safety car where he can massage those tires a little bit. He can take them a little longer, and towards the end he'll be on softs when everybody else is on struggling hard tires. So
Yep.
maybe Montero might be in an outside chance of being on the podium, or if not the win. So only time will tell. Sager unfortunately caught out by a badly timed second safety car, but yeah, it's the order has kind of reset itself a bit here, in a way, because Shrey and Shawshank are just behind, are net P1 and P2 behind those drivers who haven't pitted yet. So a lot to discuss
Oh,
going into the latter
hey,
half of
look,
this
when have I
race.
seen this before?
There's no bridge here, but that's a repeat of Silverstone from Mamuk Admi. He's righted his car quicker than he did last time, so good good work from him. And he's warming up his tires a bit more after spinning out, so no problems there.
Yeah, but
As
coming
he
back
rounds,
to
oh, he's
as you
lost his wing as well. I
as he
didn't
rounds
notice
the
that.
triple apex right-hander, as he was going to say there, it's yeah, he
Shots, shots, shots.
shots everyone. Yeah, I think it's interesting that Montero's favored for the tire life rather than track position, because tire life is actually available at a premium here because of especially sector 3, where you just the car is just so loaded through the entire section. So yeah, you can gain a lot of lap time on the cars ahead, if even if you're on like 3 or 2 lap fresher tires, and he's going to have a larger offset than that, so he's going to be easily a second a lap quicker. or maybe on this entire next two stints he's going to have to go through. So quite an interesting decision there to stay out for him to stay out there from Montero, and I think I agree with you. He's probably the best. He has the best chance of winning the race.
Yep, absolutely. I think another thing to note as well is every time you bid for a new set of tires for the likes of Sager, etc., and Sager is pitted again for a set of soft tires.
Soft tires.
What is going on here? Drivers desyncing backwards and
Oh my
forwards.
God! This is a repeat of Silverstone.
Yeah, and this is now going to be 5-second deltas for everybody as everybody's slamming on the brakes, bumping into each other. Not
He's just gonna
ideal,
be
but
parked at the apex, waiting for the guy to go through. And oh look,
I think
look at Alpine on the right.
I think coming back to Montero, one good thing that he's done is staying on a consistent set of tires throughout all these safety cars. Is he doesn't have to worry about heating them up again and again. Yes, you do slow down a bit, but
Yep.
those new tires come out ice cold, no blankets this year, obviously. So they come out at 70 degrees, and then you have to get them back into the temperature window. Not ideal. It's a little easier to get worn tires back into the temperature window. So Montero has gone for some interesting calls, but I think in retrospect, it's gone in his favor. Wow, that steering from Ritesh is
I mean, it's the best option
interesting to say the least.
It's the best way to heat up his tires, that's for sure. Like, I mean, that's just has to work so
That's
well.
true,
Like, just
actually, that's
scrubbing through
true.
the tarmac there.
Yep. Some input methods are better than the wheel. What can we say? As the safety car is scheduled to come in at the end of this lap, existence
Existence does
playing it
not
very
go past
smartly,
the
not
safety
going
car
yet,
this
and
time.
he's gone.
Oh,
And
he's
he's
gone.
gone. He's let loose.
He's got a good one actually. Tell you what, he's put out 7 and a bit tenths, 8 tenths now almost. As Ritesh seems to have gotten a bit caught off there, face crack, weaving all over the track, trying to get temperature into his hard tires there. Shawshank already making a move down the inside of Ashray. Ashray, who was pulling away just before the safety car had come in, has lost his space. Maybe the tire warm up wasn't ideal for the Aston Martin driver, and that's where Shawshank has gotten him on the restart with probably better temps in his hard tires. But yeah, as you can see, the Ferrari just nailing all these apexes, and he is certainly on the charge. One to look out for.
Oh, that was a harsh of AJ. They're just cutting across the nose
Oh,
of
weird line to there,
PK19, but
gets a
PK's got
beautiful switchback. Yeah.
brilliant move there by BK, although that's more at the expense of AJ, and that's Jose spinning again, coming through the same part of the track as well. Not ideal for him on the fresh set or the fresh wing that he had. Can't say fresh set of soft tires because he didn't change his tires, I don't think. But yeah, not ideal for the Mercedes driver there who finds himself quite far down the grid. Montero just will now try to play it a little bit safe, will not try to push too much on this set of tires.
He knows he's seeing that Ferrari again on track. He knows that for sure. So he's just letting him pass for now.
Very smart racing there from Montero, picking his battles wisely, not getting too overeager, just fighting every single time side by side through every corner. That won't help him. It won't aid his strategy, and his hard tires will get worn down at a much quicker rate. So now Shawshank is.
Oh,
He's
bit of a teammate collision there. Almost.
I was just gonna say he's lucky he ghosted there. Otherwise, that would have. Oh my!
Okay.
What is happening here, lads? I think there's a little bit of a desync there. I think one of the Aston
We
Martins
aren't
is
in
desync.
October, so I don't know what's with the Halloween theme of this race, giving us these jump scares and all.
That's what. It ain't October 31st yet, lads. We should have a race on October 31st. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah,
Halloween
but like
F1 social
what?
race.
Bahrain full wet conditions, the scariest prospect for any driver there.
Monaco full wet at night.
Oh yeah, that would be
Ooh.
amazing. As PK gets spun around there, I'm not sure by who. Maybe it's tire temps, maybe it's just his oversteery setup. But yeah, not having the best of restarts of the safety car there. Further down the order, another wise veteran of the F1 game is Monk, as he's just carefully eyeing his moves and rounding up SWAT cat slowly and surely. Ashray again on the back of Montero. Montero knows he doesn't need to fight the Aston Martin of Ashray here, but still goes a bit defensive though. I think Ashray was a bit too careful on the throttle there, trying to make sure he gives him enough space. A lot of respectful racing going on. Montero still choosing to fight this, taking a wider line. Is he going to get the good switchback route? Doesn't quite, but yeah, Montero did expect to battle Shrey there. I think Shrey was just a bit too nervy on the throttle, trying to just keep the car in on track there.
I think Montero needs to be careful now as some of these hard runners behind him who are on the fresh hard tires, they're going to
They just
be
left.
now the tires are warmed up and now Sager has left the session, but now their tires are warmed up. Now they're going to be the delta difference is going to be a lot lesser, maybe 1 or 2 tenths there, and that's going to be compensated by the DRS, which was
Oh,
enabled this lap. Abi 20 deciding to try
beautiful
round the
switchback.
outside. This outside line through this corner will turn into the inside line coming into the S's.
Oh,
Will he
what a
get the
move.
move done? He does. Brilliant move there by Upbeat 20 as we saw a ghosted car just following them there. I think that was Sager. Yeah, Montero now has to be careful and risk not getting overtaken by absolutely everyone behind him because that won't play well into his strategy either. He might need some assistance from his teammate Monk here, who's looking to get a move done down the inside of SWAT Cat. Might be smart to stick behind him for this part of the straight and get DRS on the next one. They are side by side. SWAT Cat just managing to stay ahead. It's 3 wide and he's having to weave vigorously across the track to end there from that was Heisenberg challenging down the inside, and now DRS for both SWAT Cat and Heisenberg. It seems like as Heisenberg goes down the inside of Monk, and Monk trying to go from challenging SWAT Cat to the position, loses a position to Heisenberg. Not ideal for the McLaren driver, and this won't help Montero either. He needs assistance from his teammate here if he wants to keep his other drivers behind. And there's Jose losing the car again, going through just start at the end of the straight there.
Oh, that's Monk also losing his car through the triple apex right-hander. And yeah, the back end just getting a bit too uncompliant there and just getting spit out to the side as he rounds the entire corner. But there's Shrey making another move on face crack there, goes for the switch back, beautifully executed, gets the power down way earlier than the AlphaTauri, and that's a classic slow and fast start move right there.
Yeah, brilliantly set up there from the Aston Martin driver. Face crack just getting caught out by a better line there from Shrey. And Shrey is now on the offensive. He's 3 seconds behind Shawshank, but
Oh,
arguably Shawshank's been in the air. That is Eisenberg bullying his way past. It's just like, move, get out the way as he's just aside. That might be one for the stewards to look at later, but I don't think there was any malicious intent there.
I saw a car sideways on the track there. Was that Montero? I'm not quite sure. Yeah, it was Montero. He's dropped back a lot of places. Oh no, that is not good for the McLaren driver there.
Both the McLaren drivers really struggling this race
But
with
yeah, he
traction
gets a move
issues.
done instantaneously. That's a huge deficit of straight line. Does Abi have? Maybe he's gone for a very high downforce setup. Because that was just Verstappen in what do you call Belgium vibes there, just standing still was Merc there of Abhi. But yeah, he's catching him through the slow corners. So yeah, he's gone for a very high downforce setup. That's for sure. Another reason why I love this track, you can just see it's the setup variance in all these cars here in play right now.
Also, if this were in real life and he were running a high downforce setup, he'd be getting shaken up like a martini inside that car as he's porpoising all over the place. But yeah, Abhi losing another position, I believe. Or actually, Face Crack has come into the pits. I think this is the first of the medium runners to come into the pits. This is what the strategy we would have seen, assuming the race had gone through as predicted. He's run
We head on
15
board to the
laps
top
on.
three. Sorry to interrupt there, but yeah, top three in a very good battle as of now, all within a second of each other. Shawshank catching these medium runners rapidly. Trendy, another driver who we haven't spoken about all too much in the race, but he's been there. He's been a quiet lurker in the background, just making his positions slowly up the race, up the field there. Sorry, and yeah, already up to P10 on a decent strategy though. I think but he's going to be rapid on the medium tires, so that's for sure. So yeah, another driver to keep an eye out for as Axis Scoop gets passed by BK, who is undeniably on fresh softs as Shawshank sends it around the outside. Here's the battle for the top three that you wanted to see as
Oh
he's
no!
rear-ending this the AlphaTauri there of existence, getting all out of shape. Shawshank is just like trying to scurry his way past these opponents here, and that was a bit too close for comfort for both these drivers here.
Not quite sure if he picked up wing damage from that. Don't think he did. Didn't see any bits falling off the front of that Ferrari.
Oh, he's
We don't really
so
have an
much more-
idea.
So much more grip to that triple apex right-hander as he's just got way more of an exit speed coming through that penultimate corner as well. And yeah, both the drivers are sensibly coming into the pits as they don't want to get bullied by this driver who's on the fresher tires and has the pace advantage as well. But all this is played out very perfectly for Ashray, who didn't quite get a good safety car restart, but now has found himself within DRS of the Ferrari driver. So the battle for the top two is on, folks. It is not left us at all.
Also interesting to note that because of all those drivers pitting, Montero has been brought back into the fray. Not quite entirely, but he's only about 3 or 4 seconds off those top 5. And it seems like he's on a similar strategy. Will the top 5 be able to go for another 10 laps on the hards? I definitely don't think so.
I don't think so, yeah. It's going to be a bit too close for comfort, isn't it?
Yeah, so Montero, assuming he can keep up this pace, he's still in with an outside chance of a podium. He has to be absolutely on it, though, for those last 10 laps. I don't know if he'll be going on the mediums or the softs. I don't think
It
the
has to be the
softs
mediums.
will the softs go 10 laps? I don't think they would.
They will, but the pace drop off will be absolutely massive. You'll be at least 3 seconds a lap slower on the 7th lap. That's for sure. But that's how badly the softs degrade here, yeah.
So the Montero, if he wants to go for a hot lapping session in those last 10 laps, it has to be on the medium tires. He has to be pushing every single lap if he's going to be catching up to those guys ahead. I think I remember Jano Opme putting up something of a similar strategy a couple of seasons ago in PSGL. So, maybe he can channel his inner Jano and pull off something amazing here for the McLaren boys who seem to be struggling over the past few races. But right now, up at the front of the field, it did seem like Ashray had caught up to Shawshank, but now he's opened up a gap, 2 and a bit seconds.
I was just going to say that Shawshank is answered to Ashray's charge, and he certainly has answered very strongly because a 2-second gap within, what is that, a lap, less than a lap, maybe, I'm not sure, is quite massive. So, yeah, certainly asserting dominance there as the Ferrari driver.
Montero does make his pit stop, though in the background he has come out on the medium tires, but he's come out in P13, almost 10
and he's
positions.
come out in his back? Oh, that's Monk.
No, that's Monk. No, he's come out nearly 10 positions behind where he went in. Yeah, that's a crafty moment right there. And yeah, but Montero is come out a lot further back than he would have expected. Not ideal for him. He has to get past a lot of traffic if he wants to get up. He's nearly 3 and a bit seconds behind Face Crack. He'll probably lose a bit of time there. Face Crack on the warmed up hard tires. It's going to be a difficult tall order for Montero if he's going to be, getting solid points from this race, but he has to be on it the next few laps, and he's looked a little shaky this race. So is it possible for the McLaren driver?
Ritesh's pit stop has made for a great prospect for racing because he's out on the cold tires, but he's got the fresher tires, so that sort of equalized the deficit and the benefit. So and now he's equally on pace with these drivers, and they're all stuck in a pack as Jose Hero again getting some deja vu. It's been a case of deja vu this entire race with him spinning around. But yeah, it's just offered that prospect of Ritesh just being on it here. And now he's found himself in the mid pack, right up there in the mix. And we're going to have a look and see how he's going to dodge around these cars on those fresh tires. As Monk takes a very awkward line through that corner, loses out massively. But I think that's because he was trying to defend from Ritesh, who I wasn't quite looking at the gap there on the left. As Ritesh has got the move done into the last corner, not quite. Because Monk has chosen to deploy some ERS, but it doesn't prove that advantageous because he's lost the position to the Alpine driver, and that's a smart racecraft there from the Alpine.
Yep, absolutely. Good, smart racing there. I think Monk briefly had a look up the inside again, going just into
Yeah.
the S's. He's making up a lot of time under braking, it seems like. Monk, a veteran of F1 within IRC as well. So he's definitely a smart driver, knows when to pick his battles. And yeah, we didn't see him defending going into the penultimate corner. We just saw him take some awkward lines. And then we see, Ritesh coming in like surprise, and then he's there. So great racing there from Ritesh, kept it really clean, and Monk as well respected the other driver going down the straight, didn't weave too much, didn't do any Max Verstappen style defending at the last moment. But yeah, great racing there, and everything's kind of settled down a bit here. I think Monk and Ritesh are the closest drivers on track currently to each other, about 8. Actually, Ritesh might be not that far off from Heisenberg as well, 4 and a bit 10
Montero with the
separating the
purple
two of
sector
them.
1. He's on it.
Yep, he's on it, and he needs to be. He
Oh,
needs to be if
1.5
he's going to be.
seconds up. Sheesh.
Montero on fast tires is a weapon, and he's definitely in clear air now, so he'll need to push hard. Ooh, that's that's a mistake from Heisenberg. Then Montero, another free position for him. That's one to capitalize for him there, as Heisenberg rubs all the yellow curbs on the
This is
inside
going
of
to
the
be
triple
a
apex
rapid
right-hander.
lap. I've just been
Yep.
looking at the gap to the overall gap from Montero to Shawshank. It's at about around about 24 odd seconds or so, and now it's come down to 22. So he's gaining around a second a bit per lap, and it's going to just go way more like he's going to go berserk on those tires, I tell you. And yeah, I'm pretty sure Shawshank is going to come out behind him, and he's going to have cold tires to his added ammunition as well. So yeah, it's going to be a bit of a nervy call for the Ferrari as to what he's going to do right now. Is he going to just try to stretch those hards for as long as he can and go onto a set of soft tires? Do you see that as a prospect? It's
I mean, right now, as it stands, Montero, I would say, is net P3 or P4, assuming those top 6 or 7 drivers paid. I think SWATCAT won, so I think he's net P4 or P5 right now, Montero. If he can keep pushing at this rate, maybe he'll overtake his teammate and become net P3. But those top 4 drivers who are on the hard tires currently, they're in for an interesting stint, because they'll have to go nearly 21 laps on those hards. As SWATCAT with a spin there, that's another position for Montero. Montero being helped out a lot unintentionally by other drivers as they're making mistakes and conceding their positions. Montero's been given an easy task, and you've got to understand that on the lap that he was nearly 2 and a bit seconds faster than the rest of the field, he was still fighting people. So in clear air, if Montero's pushing, what kind of a prospect do we have here? And as you said,
Shawshank picks up a penalty there.
he is 4 seconds clear at the front, but that gap is steadily dropping. That will give Ashray some renewed purpose to try and catch up to Shawshank, because now he only has to catch 1.2 seconds if he's to get that P1. But yeah, as you mentioned, what does the top 3 drivers, top 4 drivers do? Because they are on those worn tires, but they can make it to the end. But is the delta drop off worth it, or will they even make it to the end? The tires, if we can go on board either Shawshank or Ashray briefly, we can have a look at the tire situation.
Yeah,
So,
also, Dan, it would be really great if we could just bring in the race director a bit and see how much faster is Montero lapping compared to Shawshank, because it's going to be interesting to see how long that medium tire advantage is going to stay out for. So 38.6 on lap 20. And if you could just have a look at Shawshank's lap 20 and see how much faster that is. That's a 39.1. How much?
about 5 or 6 tenths.
Yeah. That's not quite as much as I thought it out to be, but still, it's going to come back to bite Shawshank later in the race, because he's just going to keep losing and eking out more and more time as Montero.
Oh, there was a battle there between Facecrack and SWATCAT, but SWATCAT got on the exit, curbing on the exit of turn 11. That's not helped him there. It's unsettled the car massively, as he still has to stay behind the AlphaTauri driver. Great camera angle there, by the way, just to capture that battle as they come through the triple apex right-hander onto the coming towards the end of the sector now. A couple of drivers picking up penalties. Ashray as well has now picked up a 3-second time penalty, which won't help him at all.
Gotta say, those helicopter shots are beautiful. You can really see what lines the drivers are taking and all. But yeah, coming back to the race, Montero on the charge. Shawshank certainly responding to Montero's pace as well, though not intentionally, I'm sure, because I'm not quite sure if he knows how fast Montero is going about around the circuit right now. But he is responding by eking out 4.4 seconds of of a gap he's got to the driver behind him, and P2 is Ashray. But yeah, he's definitely planning to eke out those hard tires and pit for the softs. That has to be the best decision here. He's going to have to take, or maybe he's just risking to stay out. Maybe that could be a prospect as well, but I'm not quite sure if that's the right call or not. Because yeah, a puncture is not what he would want. That's the last thing he'd want, really.
Montero has to get the move done here. He won't hold back at all. Gets the move done well before the braking zone. Just shows you how long that back straight is. I think he was about 3 or 4 tenths back before the DRS opened, and then he was 2 or 3 tenths in front. So great move there for Montero. Pretty straightforward. But yeah, I think Shawshank and the others will now go to the end. I think 20 laps does seem possible on those hard tires. It will be difficult, and the pace towards the end won't be ideal for him, but he'll keep pushing. I think another important thing to keep in mind is that Montero doesn't have any penalties. Neither does Abhi. And I think that's Ritesh who's spun out there. So another few positions for Montero, helping him out. That'll help him out as well. 5 laps to go. Montero has to catch. There's still about a 20-second delta difference between Shawshank and Montero. He hasn't caught up a whole lot after those first few laps. The tire advantage maybe he pushed a little too hard on the first lap, maybe, and he's lost that tire advantage already.
He gets another 3 seconds there, trying to eke out at the merc of Abhi, who's had quite a quiet race. He showed a great move, but yeah, quite a quiet race, and he's found himself in P5. So good display from the Merc driver there. But yes, he's got Strendy all over his rear right now, and yeah, surely Strendy's going to get him on the back straight here. But those 6 seconds, they are looming over him, and yeah, I'm pretty sure Abhi won't be too worried about losing a position right now.
We can go on board Montero. I believe there is going to be an evidence of some team orders here. Probably Monk and Montero on different strategies, but interesting to know that Existence is right behind them, so he can't be too rash in letting
Monk hasn't yielded yet.
He hasn't yielded yet because the delta difference is quite large. I think he'll just choose to let off the brakes a little bit here and allow his teammate to go through. No, still chooses to stay ahead. They are going to be fighting for the position, maybe. Might not be wise. Keeping Montero behind on those fresh tires, not going to be ideal. Montero also not really putting up many good laps here. He's yellow in both his sectors right now as he comes through the final part of sector 3 here just before the penultimate corner.
You mean the triple apex right-hander?
I do mean the triple apex right-hander. 2 more shots there, chat, if you're keeping up. But yeah, not ideal for Montero. He's not been able to keep up that pace difference to Shawshank. If anything, Shawshank has pulled up an even more of a gap on Ashray. He's 5.6 seconds clear now. Absolutely running away with it, as it seems. As he does send it down the inside, he has to send it down the inside. A full Nico Rosberg type move there. But Montero does get ahead of Monk. I think Monk just didn't get the message in time. And now that's pulled Existence back into the battle as Existence prowling on the rear diffuser of Monk.
With the dive bomb like that, I have no clue. Maybe that was team orders and the weirdest display of team orders I've ever seen. We are forced to send it down the inside.
Exactly. It's just like, get it done. Please. Monk probably just didn't want to get Existence get too close, because now he's going to lose a position to the AlphaTauri driver. There's a yellow flag in sector 1, and that's an Alpine. Oh no, that's Ace's again having a bit of an incident there. Not a good race for him, not a good race for Jose Hero as well, who's had a lot of spins as well, or Mamuka Admi, who find themselves quite a long way behind the rest of the field, just vibing now at the back and just hoping for this race to get over, as Existence now prowling Monk and Montero. Something tells me that Montero's pace delta isn't helping him too much right now. Maybe Existence could get the move done on both of them if he's got the pace advantage. If you could just have a look at the tires, I think he's on similar tires to Abhi 20. Yeah, he's on pretty new hard tires.
No,
but
he's on 7 lap fresher tires compared to the hard runners in front of him.
compared to Monk, but I don't think he'll get the move done on Montero. More importantly, Abhi 20 looking to mount a move on Strendi. Tell you what, though, Abhi, who found himself at the back towards the beginning of this race, has actually put on a good recovery drive. Touch wood, commentator's curse, don't kick in now, please. It will be a bad time. But yes, Abhi has put on a good drive to find himself up in P6. He's currently he's currently doing a good job for the Merc team, getting some good points on the board. Unfortunately, Jose finding himself outside the top 15, so no points on offer for him today. That won't
Shout
help him
out to BK19 for testing the limits of the soft tire. He stayed out in that compound for 10 laps, and yeah, props to him, man. That's insane stuff right there.
I really would have hoped he'd have his telemetry enabled, but I don't think he has. So we can't see just what the wear is on those red tires. But something tells me the color of the tires in the telemetry would be same as the red compound itself. So, yeah, those tires are pretty much on the rim. And he's gone for another set of soft tire. I think he's going for fastest lap at this point.
Definitely.
But I think he has to keep an eye on the fact that he has to be within the top 10 or the top 15 if he wants to get that point for fastest lap. So at this point, it's
points away from the fast points. It's all right.
It's 1 point less for Montero today. As if BK can get into the top 15, he'll take that point for fastest lap. But as it currently stands, Montero not really any closer to the top 5. He still finds himself about 15 seconds behind existence. Still prowling the back of Monk, unable to get a move done as of yet. He's still within DRS, but I think Monk is within DRS himself, so not great. Actually, I don't think Existence is within DRS either because he's 1.1 seconds back. So yeah, he's lost the advantage that that Montero's audacious overtake has given him. So I think he will settle for P9, a good points finish for Existence. But up ahead, Shawshank just kind of having a chill Sunday.
Yeah, he's just waltzing away from Ashray. And let's just have a look and see that those two guys' lap times, because things are starting to get a bit stale in this race. Not many moves being made around the front of the grid. And well, we have Ritesh here who's following closely behind Existence, and they're on equal tires. And maybe this is a position battle for actual. And a rather equal battle actually, because both of them are probably equally skilled drivers, if I'm not wrong, as this season has showed us. So there'll be some interesting stuff to see. But yeah, further up ahead, Shawshank with some pretty ordinary Shawshank things as Ritesh goes for rather audacious dive bomb, and he's made it stick. That's a pretty clean move actually, with how outrageous it looked.
Absolutely, and as we come into the final stages of this race, there's not many battles going on, but the ones that are currently going on track are absolutely spicy. Montero now 7/10 behind Abhi 20. Unfortunately, actually, if he gets within 6 seconds of Strendi, he might actually get P5 here because Strendi's got 6 seconds of time penalty. So if he can get within a few seconds of actually, that's Strendi right there. Never mind.
He's already within 6 seconds, yeah.
He's already within 6 seconds. So assuming he gets the move done on Abhi, he'll get net P5. So a good race here for Montero considering the unfortunate circumstances of the opening few laps. He's recovered well here, and now he's in a battle with IRC Abhi 20, looking to make a few more moves done on those medium tires. They're definitely still well within the window. I think they're about maybe 25-30% wear right now. He's been pushing every single lap, had to push to get past his teammate as well. There was a little bit of a push and shove kind of move as well. But now he's looking to get the move done on Abhi 20. Will he have DRS here? He will, but Abhi himself will have DRS from Strendi up ahead as BK does get fastest lap and up into the top 15 as well. So he'll get the point for fastest lap from Montero.
Yep, absolutely. And Montero, or is that Abhi, trying to go for a move around the outside of the Williams. So these drivers are obviously looking as racy as ever. The penalties are not going to play a part, because on-track overtakes are what these drivers take pride on. And that's for sure, as you can see, Abhi just hounding the back of the Williams driver in front of him.
Absolutely. Now it's a race for attrition because Montero will look to close the gap on the championship leaders. Now Shawshank will be running away with the championship lead after this race. Trendy, especially not having a great race. He was tied on points with Shawshank coming into this race, but he'll find himself at a deficit of at least 15 or so points because he's lost out quite a bit now. Upbeat 20 has DRS, but I get a feeling that Trendy is dumping ERS just to keep that position on track. If not, he won't
Oh,
be
look
getting
at
the position on
Trendy's
merit.
tires.
Oh, those hard tires are absolutely toasted right now.
Can you imagine how bad Shawshank's tires might be then? Jesus.
We might be able to have a look a little bit closer to the checkered flag as I don't think Shawshank has enabled his
Yeah.
telemetry. So unfortunate there, but yeah. Will Montero get the move done on both these drivers? He doesn't have many opportunities. He has got
He's
the
got a
position in
lot
the
of
bag.
ERS though. Look at that. He's got 70% ERS. Up, he's tagged. It's Trendy then the rear. He spins out, and also Montero got a stoppage there, so he's lost all momentum coming out of that corner and is having to defend from his teammate rather than attack. Though I think he's got quite a bit of an overspeed. Doesn't quite go for the move again. I don't know why he's not gone for that or spammed his ERS there. Very puzzling decision from the McLaren driver there.
He's not used any ERS. He's barely used any at all. He's still
Yeah.
got 60% ERS. It's the last lap, my dude. Send it. Send, not here, obviously, but you would have had the opportunity a little earlier. He should have absolutely burnt that ERS.
He's
used up
thought
all his
better
ERS.
of using his ERS through the triple apex right-hander. You do not want to be doing that at any cost. And yeah, he's just coming around the penultimate corner there, rounding up the last one. Doesn't quite get the move done, but still a good race nonetheless. And yeah, again, a very puzzling decision indeed. Not quite what I think he'd be doing there. As Face Crack getting very close to the back of Strenny there, who's on his last legs after that spin especially, and also the added tire wear. But yeah, that's the race for today afternoon, folks. That's Shawshank with another Lewis Hamilton-esque drive. 8.4 seconds the gap, even with two safety cars. That's rather bizarre, actually.
Actually,
And,
no, it's probably not. Actually, currently, the recent trend of things, it's not a Lewis Hamilton-esque drive. It's a Max Verstappen-esque drive.
yeah,
Lewis Hamilton
absolutely.
hasn't really been 8.5 seconds clear of anyone apart from, the back markers these days. So, yeah, not a good race for Strendy, though. After leading the championship until this round, he finds himself down in P11 this time around. Not a good race for the Williams driver at all. But Shawshank, Ashray, and AJ are your podium finishers today. Swagger Turbo as well picks up a really good finish in P4. RB20 with a fantastic recovery drive as the final few drivers round the final corner. Aces scope almost lost control of his car there. I think that was the intention. He wanted to finish the race sideways. Will Jose finish the race sideways? Go for it, my man. Wiggle that wheel. He's not.
Okay, he's not. But yeah, that's your race for today afternoon, folks. COTA again provided as usual. A lot of bizarre calls in the strategy. A lot of risk takers here, and the risk takers certainly did benefit from that race. And yeah, it's been an action-packed one all throughout, and glad you could stick with us. And yeah, it'll just round off the top podium there and the top 10 of that race.
Shawshank with a comfortable race. He did have a little bit of a worry there halfway through the race when he had Ashray bearing down on him. He also potentially had the threat of Montero, cutting through the pack and getting up front, but eventually he keeps his P1. Ashray with a good P2, started P2, finished P2. AJ with a surprise P3 as well, starting from P4, benefiting from, I think one of the other drivers had retired earlier on. That was Regina, I believe. Swagger Turbo in P4, a great drive from him from P11. RB20 in P5. Montero in P6, unable to capitalize in the end. Started P6, ends P6. Monk, again, same story. Ritesh P8, Existence P9, Face Crack P10. Trendy P11. And unfortunately, due to that performance, he will have to yield the championship lead. SWATcat P12, Stager P13, Heisenberg P14, BK19 P15, Aces Scoop P16.
With the fastest lap.
With the fastest lap, Jose Hero P17, Mamuka Admi P18, and Regin did not finish the race and is also from Germany. So interesting to note that.
Yep.
As we come to the podium interview, I believe we have Shawshank here with us. We'll try to get the other two drivers into the race, into the commentary. as well. So let's go Ashray and AJ. Can't quite tag AJ.
Or did AJ get the last podium?
Yep, he did because
Penalties rather, I think.
yes.
Yeah.
We will get started with the podium interviews in just a second. We're just waiting on our other two podium finishers as well. We have Shrey who's joined in, and AJ will be joining us in a second as well. But I think in the meantime, we can get started. Oh, we have all
Yeah.
three. Good timing. Good timing. And we'll get started. We'll go in reverse order. So we'll start with AJ, who's our P3 finisher today. AJ, congratulations on the podium. Talk us through your race.
Thank you so much. Race was good. Didn't have a lot of practice before the race, but knew if I could get for the first lap clear without any incidents, I'll be up ahead. But congrats to Shrey and Shawshank. Shrey managed his tires very well, so that's it.
Yeah, well maintained from you. I don't think you had many penalties at the end, but towards the end, did you maybe think that the hard tires during the first safety car period, did you feel like it was a bit of a risky decision?
Yeah, of course, it was a risky decision. The second safety car helped as well. Towards the end, I was feeling vibrations in my wheel due to the tire wear, but managed it and glad I came into the podium.
Well, congratulations on the P3. A great podium, great drive from you as well, and capitalize on the misfortune of others, but it's resulted in a good podium for you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Then we move on to P2. We have Shrey, who's finished in P2, and maybe maybe another race that could have been for you.
Yeah, as he said, I was very nervous, and the first safety car should have pit or not, and it was very risky. But in the end, it turned out well. And Shawshank was on another level. I was like, when he got that penalty, I thought I should push, and then I also got the penalty. I was like, what foolish I am, like that thing. But then I tried to like just not keep it clean and just race. But Shawshank and AJ, well done. Especially Shawshank, like he was on another level again. Yeah. Congrats to these two.
You had to also contend with Rijin in the initial parts of the race. Would he have been a major roadblock had he been still in the race all the way till the end?
Yeah. I think it could be a competitive one in the last few, laps. But just he got DNA'd first. I think in the few after the safety car, he got crashed, and that turned out in favor of me. And I'm glad it turned out to be not his crash, but for my podium position.
Absolutely. Congratulations on P2. Nice way to solidify the result at in the United States. Now we come to our race winner, Shawshank. Another good drive from you today. You solidify your championship lead. I think you and Strendy were tied on points, but after Strendy's P11 today, I think you've got a comfortable lead in this championship standings.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, congratulations to the other podium winners as well. And I just have to say, I'm absolutely gutted for Trin was named Rijin, the Red Bull. Yeah, I don't know why my car didn't go when I spun around. It was set for a beautiful race, I guess, with both of us fighting. And yeah, the championship lead, I mean, it's just like a couple of races, anything can happen.
Could you give us a little bit of could you shed some light on how you lost a position to Ashray during the safety car period? Because it seemed like you were ahead going into the pit lane and then you were behind him coming out. So it was a little puzzling for us.
No. I was always behind him because I spun around and then Rijin hit me. And in that whole, kerfuffle, I think Ashray just went ahead. He was always ahead of me when he was entering the pit. Maybe the game just glitched, I guess, but he was always ahead of me.
Regardless, a dominant drive from you once again, and you, as I mentioned earlier, you do solidify your position in P1 after the unfortunate events of Strendy's race. He finished P11, but he'll be about 10-15 points behind you. But a good race from you, dominant drive, 8.5 seconds clear towards the end, and I don't think the penalty affected you too much. So congratulations on your race win. You are P1 today. And I think that's it from us today. I think it's been a good afternoon of racing from the Tier 2 lads. A lot of strategic, thinking that we had to do in the commentary box as well to see where people would come out and who would be racing against whom and who's net P1, this, that, and the other. But Moto, any final summarizing words?
Yeah, a good race all in all, and COTA again always provides, and just some great action all throughout. Shawshank taking another dominant win, but I'm pretty sure Strendy will have an answer in the latter stages of the season. But yeah, that's it with Tier 2, folks. We do go live again tonight with Tier 1, the fastest boys in IRC. Heading to same track, COTA, live at 8:30, so be sure to check that out. And yeah, join us for that, definitely. And this is IRC